I'm Bruce Marshall, and this is a Marshall Minute Brampton Now update for the week ending July 11th, 12th, 2020. This is a succinct, once-a-week hotshot of everything important that has happened in Brampton the previous week and what's coming up. Brampton's only professionally produced, only independent broadcast. Brampton, unbought and unbiased. Coming up, masks are now law in Brampton. Dr. Lawrence Lowe with our successes to date and a reminder that the real success story that this pandemic fight has been here in Ontario. Plus, my Marshall Rant, some of the debate over masks. Details on that and more coming up in this Brampton Now update. The top stories this week in Brampton. Masks became mandatory on Friday. If you want to go into any private indoor space, you will be required to wear a mask. Mayor Patrick Brown from the Wednesday press conference.
Starting Friday, July 10th, so July 10th is going to be the official date, that non-medical masks or face coverings will be required in all indoor public spaces in Brampton to help stop the spread of COVID-19.
Brown reviewed the 4 core actions we all need to keep top of mind.
I want to remind everyone that we need to continue to practice all the core 4 actions to overcome COVID-19. Stay apart, physical distancing. Maintain 2 meters of distance from everyone outside of your safe social circle. Lather up, wash your hands often with soap and water and use hand sanitizer. And mask up, wear a non-medical mask where maintaining physical distance is not possible. And lastly, get tested. So these are 4 core actions that I need everyone in the public to abide by.
Brown went on to praise the William Osler Health System for their work in testing.
Testing is critical to isolating the virus, to knowing where it is, and being able to track it. I just got an update from Osler Health this morning. They have tested 77,755 residents.
Testing revealed a positive rate of just under 10% in those subjects that the William Osler Health System has tested. The City of Brampton also announced a mask program to send 3 masks to each household in Brampton. Nobody will have an excuse for not wearing a mask.
And today I'm pleased to announce that as part of our mandatory mask campaign, the City of Brampton is going to be distributing 1 million masks. So we're going to be distributing around Brampton 1 million masks.
In a moment, Dr. Lawrence Lowe, our Medical Officer of Health for Peel Region, with his thanks for where we've got to so far. Plus, another victory for a group of parent advocates at the Peel School Board ahead on Brampton Now Update.
In the time of COVID, I cured the sick.
In the time of COVID-19, we kept people informed.
أنا عملت الصابون لأنه مجتمعي بحاجة له.
أنا خليت إخواتي وأطفال الجيران يتعلموا.
En tiempos de COVID, ayudé a los enfermos a llegar a un lugar seguro.
Nous prenons soin de nos voisins.
In the time of COVID-19, I helped my community stay safe.
In the time of COVID, we celebrate refugees fighting on the front lines of this pandemic, alongside their hosts and the aid workers supporting them. Because everyone needs help sometimes. Everyone can make a difference. Every action counts.
So on the issue of how we're doing over time, Peel's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Lawrence Lowe, had this good news.
Today marks 2 weeks since our community entered Stage 2 of the province's reopening framework. Since Canada Day, our 7-day moving average of new cases has continued to decline, moving closer towards our goal of 0 daily new cases. Thank you to Bramptonians for keeping up with the core 4 behaviors of 2 meters of distancing with people outside of your social circle, frequent hand washing, wearing a non-medical mask where distancing is difficult, and getting tested and staying home if you have symptoms of COVID-19.
Lowe also announced that Peel Region would be one of the first municipalities participating in a new provincial contact tracing initiative.
I'm excited to announce that Peel Public Health, working closely with the Ministry of Health will be one of the first health units to go live with a new electronic provincial case and contact management solution next week. For any second wave that may arise, this will be a game changer for contact tracing. And in the immediate moment, it helps us, together with all of you, to bring community transmission in Peel and in Brampton to a close.
So what does this mean in terms of ending at least this wave of the pandemic?
We are close. Most of the new cases that we are detecting are linked to previously identified clusters, which means that we are having an increasingly clear view of all the chains of transmission that remain to be broken in Peel. But each and every single Bramptonian has a role to play in stopping new chains from transmitting in the first place.
Lowe goes on to remind us the story of COVID-19 has been a real success story in Ontario.
Let me also be clear that the story of COVID-19 in Ontario and Peel has actually been one of success to date. To be sure, we have seen sadness and crisis in parts of our long-term care sector, driven by underlying challenges that predated the arrival of COVID-19 in our communities. But together, as a community, as a public health and healthcare system, we came together and flattened the curve.
On the issue of why he recommended masks, it's the science, stupid.
Previously, Peel Public Health had issued a strong recommendation, and that was based on evolving scientific evidence that shows that masks can help to prevent pre-symptomatic and asymptomatic spread of COVID-19 if the individual wearing the mask might be brewing an infection. It's further understood that the use of masks is not happening alone, but is meant to augment the other key precautions of hand washing, distancing, and staying home and getting tested if sick.
Mayor Brown went on to talk about the financial reality. We've been spending money like water. Many income streams have dried up. Municipalities will require help from other levels of government.
Every day, the provincial and federal government seem to announce new funds for different groups in Canada. For me, I struggled to understand why that hasn't happened yet for frontline municipal essential workers. The Deputy Prime Minister continues to tell us it's coming. The Minister of Finance provincially tells us it will be coming. If it doesn't come, it's going to put us in a very precarious situation.
Parent activists who had taken on racism at the Peel District School Board scored another victory this week when the province ended streaming in high school education. Streaming determines the education you'll get and whether you'll be prepared for university or not, whether your high school career is applied or academic. It was found that streaming particularly disadvantaged minority students to a much higher percentage than what they represent in society. The province is also taking other measures that bring fairness to education, including the fact that the province will open a dialogue with the teachers' union about the repercussions for racist actions and comments by staff in the education system. Coming up, we check in with the wildly successful Brampton Garden Program, which got some assistance from the Brampton Cricket League this week, and Regen Thrift Store at 253 Queen East reopened this week under strict guidelines. That's ahead on Brampton Now Update.
In these uncertain times, COVID-19 affects us all. But when you need emergency or urgent care for an injury, chronic condition, or illness, don't let fear and uncertainty decide what you do. At Osler, our emergency departments are safe for everyone, and we are here for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to deliver the care you need when you need it most.
At Osler, your health and safety always comes first. That's why we have taken extraordinary steps to maintain clean and safe care spaces for patients, staff, physicians, and volunteers.
Councillor Doug Willans, in charge of what has become the massive Brampton Backyard Garden Program that helps our food security and our food programs, had thanks for some sponsors and donors to the program.
I'd like to thank our major sponsors. We've got Scott's Canada, Mattamy Homes, Paradise Developments, TAC Hold'em, and Fieldgate Developments as well. We also recently picked up a sizable check from the Brampton Cricket League in Brampton. They actually built gardens for seniors in our area. Very successful. And we had our own employee from IT, Jen and her husband Walter. They planted and grew 200 plants, tomato plants, for the fire department for their backyard gardens at each of their stations.
Whillans was speaking at the city's weekly press conference on Wednesday. As I put this show to tape, I learned that there's a petition started in Brampton to redraw ward boundaries. The suggestion coming forward from the petition is that ward boundaries are not balanced anymore, and this gives us an opportunity to rethink how our elected representatives are selected. I'll have more on that on the Brampton Now update next week and on my social media through the week. Regen Thrift, the thrift store run by Regeneration Outreach at 253 Queen East, has reopened. The thrift store was a recently added thrift store option for shoppers. The same location, 253 Queen East, is where Regeneration Outreach housed their food bank operation. The store now has defined entrances and exits, a sanitation station at the front door, and the floors are clearly marked with one-way pathways through the merchandise. And a 50% off sale to start things off again. Regen Thrift, 253 Queen East, just west of Rutherford in the old Sears outlet. In a moment, a quick rundown of some Brampton events for the weekend and coming week, and yet to come, my Marshall Rant on something the city is doing right: masks.
This is your invitation to hear our stories, to engage in our traditions, and connect with our history. Connections as varied as the land. Come experience our country's heritage. Find and book your authentic Indigenous experience at indigenouscanada.travel.
This weekend and ahead in Brampton, Brampton Farmers Market is Saturday. The City of Brampton invites residents to engage on a number of important issues that are up at City Hall. Those include the LRT extension, the Williams Parkway review, the Vaudin East-West Cycling Corridor, a third transit hub, and the city's tourism strategy. Go to brampton.ca/engage for information on those issues. Rotary Club of Brampton's Ribbon Roll had to be canceled due to COVID-19, but the ribs aren't canceled. They're coming right to your door on July 26th. You have to place your order by July 22nd, and you can do it all at ribbonroll.com. Brampton Music Theatre has a fundraising contest called Catch the Ace. It's at bmtcatchtheace.ca. Details about the game on the website. BMT also continues to offer online training programs on their website at bramptonmusictheatre.com. Coming up, a Marshall Rant. It's not over by a long shot. I offer congratulations to the City Council in the way that they've handled this pandemic so far. That's next.
Like intention, that's the word. The running intention for a lot of these songs was bringing it back to the place of, like the lyrics and the meaning of everything, and having it feel the way it feels to sing it for me and for a lot of people when they listen to it. And I think we sort of hear them in a different way that they haven't heard them before. The strings on it just feel so perfect with those chords. It just like, and you strip it down again, it just, you can hear what I'm saying, and I think it's a lot more emotional, and it takes just like a different approach to it. It brings you back to like the essence.
It is amazing that when you produce something differently and you play with different instruments, the song really takes on a different meaning.
We have a live EP. Yeah!
One more.
I'm Bruce Marshall, and this is the Marshall Rant. It's not over. I was involved in a discussion Friday on Facebook where the question was being asked about how we paid for the face masks, the 3 face masks that are being sent to every household by the City of Brampton. Do you know why the city is doing this? Because it's not over. No, this isn't the end. We'll be dealing with this for months, and a second or third wave should not be ruled out. It's not over. Yes, we have numbers going in the right direction, but we have to continue to take all the precautions necessary. So masks are now a necessary measure. This is not the city sending you a gift. This is the city sending you personal protective equipment. Over in Pickering, I understand that they hand out iodine tablets to every household because iodine prevents the absorption of radiation if they have an incident there at the nuclear station. Iodine gives you a chance to get out. It's PPE. Anyone who thinks the pandemic is done is just living in a dream world. Our biggest threat right now is the sad land of pestilence and disease to the south of us. It's true. COVID is running away again in the United States. They went from dozens of hospitals closed earlier last week to hundreds of hospitals closed later in the week. There's nothing being done at the national level to stop this freight train. Let me be clear now. At those hospitals, they were sending patients home to die because there was no room. That is what disaster looks like. And it seems to get worse and worse in the U.S. And their disaster is because some don't grasp science. Science is real. It's not a trick that the man is trying to play on you. If you don't grasp science, you don't have a different opinion, you have a different reality. And you really have no standing in the world of real reality. Here, we go by science. The embodiment of that is our regional health head, Dr. Lawrence Lowe. He's the commander in the hot seat, making the recommendations based on the latest up-to-date intel. And that intel read, where they wear masks, they do better. Our leaders are guided by experts, not conspiracy theories. So thus, we wear masks now. And the city has taken the very proactive approach of sending 3 of these essential pieces of personal protective equipment to every household. Nobody has an excuse to be without one now. Well done, Council. Now, those who know me and my history know that I'm not always so much in agreement with Brampton City Council. No, we disagree on some things, to put it mildly, and I speak up about that. But when they've demonstrated good leadership, like this mask thing, in the middle of the emergency we're still in the middle of, I'm going to praise that. Prove that you've got something between your ears by wrapping a mask around them. I'm Bruce Marshall, and that's it for this week. Please subscribe to the Brampton Now Update channel on YouTube or follow #MarshallMinute on Facebook for lots of Brampton Need to Know that you won't find anywhere else. Your comments and suggestions are always welcome, and if you've got a Brampton story to tell, get in touch with me through the channel you're watching on right now. Stay strong, Brampton. Brampton strong. We're all in this together. I'm Bruce Marshall. Thanks for watching Brampton Now Update.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.